Alright you guys, it was time to replace my range vent. A lot of options out there. I ended up choosing this one from JR Products, the Endura vent. Guaranteed not to yellow, UV protected. It's looks really good. Has a couple clips here, you just push on them. Overall, I mean, it's a very nice product. So as you can see right there on those edges, there's a small tab right there, a little hole type of a thing. There's another one right there at the bottom. And there's the three on top. And that is because it comes with this cover. Look how nice that is. And that has your three tabs on top, two on the sides. And that just slides over this. Slides right over it. Clicks in there on the three top sides and the two bottoms. Still gives room for these things to unclick. Open up. Overall though, I mean, this thing is nice. It's really nice. One thing I will say is it's much better than these. These are everywhere. They're for like $6 to $12. This is kind of what was on there before. And it didn't last long at all. Yellowed really quickly. I'm just barely pressing on it. I can warp the plastic because it's so thin. I mean, just very, very, very paper thin, flimsy. I mean, it feels like a toy. And then you have these little latches here. These things are a joke, to say the least. Look at that. All you gotta do is just barely move them. Your little latches come off. So, do yourself a favor, unless you have a lot of money and have nothing to do and want to keep replacing these things. Because these things, you will be replacing them. They will be yellowing. Spend the extra money. Do it once, do it right, and forget about it. Get yourself one of these guys here from JR Products. Alright you guys, went ahead and removed the old cover, and luckily this new one fits on there. I've heard that some people have had to cut these out. That wasn't the case here. If you do have to cut it out for some reason, get yourself some of that blue painter's tape, put it all the way around here. Mark your spot with the straight edge, the amount that you need to remove. Get yourself a reciprocating saw, jigsaw with a short blade with lots of teeth on it, and go ahead and cut the thing out carefully, slowly, and make sure you have safety glasses and a respirator because you will be cutting fiberglass along with a little bit of wood. So, safety first. Alright you guys. I just took out my butyl tape. Got that from Amazon. I believe it's 1 1/8. And keep it in my fridge so it stays good for whenever I want to use it. Makes it more manageable, as you'll see in my other videos when I talk about this stuff. So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and put a nice bead around that. I'll clean this off really good first with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Go ahead and apply a continuous bead all the way around, having it overlap at the bottom, before we go ahead and install it. Alright, so here it is. Now, corners are a little tricky, so you just gotta bend them and then kind of push down on them. The idea is that you want it to be slightly on the edge of it, or over the edge of it. Sorry about the quality of this recording. I mean, I can only do so much with one hand while trying to do this, but I try to get it as close to the edge as possible, even slightly. I try to go slightly off of it so that when you get it on there and you push it on there, it'll squeeze out and make a good seal. So you want to make sure that maybe you're about an 1/8 inch sticking out of the edges all the way around as best as possible. And then I overlap it about 1/2 inch right there to make sure I get a good seal. Other than that, I'm going to go out there and clean the surface real good and go ahead and install it. Right, it's on there, pushed it on there. I just, I cleaned it first, but pushed it on there, got a good, amount of that stuff coming out all around the edges, which is good. You can always trim it if you'd like. I like to leave it because it just ensures that you have a good seal and it keeps things from leaking. So it's on there, it's good. It's important now, pre-drill these. Pre-drill them all, and then hand tighten the screws you're going to put in here. I'm going to be using, I believe, 1 1/4, and you don't want to over tighten them because you're just barely going into a thin piece of wood and some fiberglass. So hand tighten all of these, and I would do it cross pattern 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and slowly do them so that on your second pass is when you get a nice even torque on everything. So I ended up finding these. They're closer to 1 inch, and I just made sure that the head here would go flush into that hole. So as long as you find something that that the head will go in there flush. I didn't go out and buy anything. This is what I found, and I pre-drilled with a slightly smaller drill bit. It worked just fine. I would have liked it if these were star head or Phillips instead, because the flathead tends to slip off as I'm tightening them up. But it's what I had available, right around 1 inch. So there it is. Everything is nice and tight, as you can see all around my edges. That's what you want. So you want a little bit. You want to start off with an 1/8 of an inch out, so that once you go ahead and tighten it down, you get that type of an effect. And I just leave it. That's just going to keep everything out of there. So other than that, I mean, it's on there really nice. Very pleased with it. Very heavy duty by far in comparison to the other thing. So almost there. Alright, it's done. Turned out really nice. Really happy with it. So doesn't hurt anything. I had some of this stuff laying around, so I went ahead and put a bead, a small thin bead there of caulk all the way around. It doesn't need it, but hey, it's cheap insurance. I had the stuff laying around, and it'll just ensure that it's extra done. But there it is. I mean, just a small bead, ran it by with my finger and call it good. I mean, it's really nice. This is the stuff I use here. Dynaflex 230. works great. Outdoors, indoors, whatever. Really nice stuff. Unlike silicone, you can clean this up, water cleanup, you can redo it. It's just so much easier to work with. I've learned to stay the heck away from silicone. This stuff works great. We'll do the job.